Hello all, this is Halloween, and if you love cemeteries and haunted places as much as I do, you may want to subscribe because I'm going to be taking you somewhere new every week. In today's video, we're headed over to Dunedin, Florida to visit the Parklawn Cemetery. Enjoy! We're here in Dunedin at Jack Polino's Brick Oven Pizza. Can't wait to try it. Let's go in and get a bite to eat. We're here at Parklawn Memorial Cemetery in Dunedin, Florida. Now it said online that this cemetery was established in 1892. However, from what I'm seeing, it looks like a newer cemetery, so I could have been looking at the wrong one. I guess we'll see. Let's go in and see what we can see. Just walking into the cemetery, the grounds are beautiful. Anytime there's a funeral home on the premises, they usually maintain the grounds. And those are going to be your nicer cemeteries, more maintained. They do have kind of like rules, you know, for the headstones and stuff. Like you can't leave too much. It's just fake flowers only, and they have to be changed out from time to time. Along those lines, you can't be leaving, like, we've seen beers, offerings, you know, all kinds of stuff. But you can just tell that that's kind of not allowed here. You have to have an approved headstone and things like that, which actually keep the cemetery grounds looking very nice. So I do appreciate that, even though maybe it seems a little to some like you shouldn't have all those rules. It does keep the grounds looking a lot nicer. It's a nice sized cemetery. I don't know exactly how far back it goes, but I definitely want to check out this niche. There is a famous person laid to rest here, and it looked like he was in a niche. It is Gregory Jacobs. He was the lead singer of Digital Underground, which was a hip-hop group, and he was quite talented because he actually helped produce some of Tupac's stuff, even Prince, some of Prince's stuff, and Dr. Dre. So he was actually a pretty talented human being. He actually passed away in 2021 of an accidental fentanyl overdose. They also found methamphetamine and ethanol in his system. So I'm looking for him. I think he might be in here. Let's see. It's a nice niche. It's different because over here you have the full body mausoleum. So this is the full casket going in. And then over here you have the cremains. So pretty high too. I don't see him on this side. Maybe he's on the other side. Let's see. I only saw a picture. There he is! Gregory Jacobs. So if you don't know who the Digital Underground, if you remember the Humpty Dance, that was probably their most famous song. I even remember that, and I'm not much for hip-hop. But here he is, right here. In loving memory, Gregory Jacobs. August 25th, 1963 to April 22nd, 2021. See the musical notes and everything? So he's in actually a full casket niche, or a full casket mausoleum here. And he was easy to find. There's only like one mausoleum in the whole grounds that I can see anyway, and he's right here, just as big and clear as day. Cool. I came right to him. Let's see the rest of the cemetery. Something crazy over here I've never seen before, which is kind of cool. Look at all these, I don't know if they're memorials or what. This could be a certain part of the cemetery that's for like Roman Catholic or a certain type. A certain, let's see. This is pretty cool. The memorials are neat looking. Look at that. Help me out here. What is this? It's not Jewish. It's not Jewish. This is, this is really cool. Look at that. Should say over here somewhere. But these are neat looking. I like this one. It looks like a pumpkin at the top. It's definitely, it's a different language. So it could be Russian, or I've seen Russian sections, but I've never seen one that looked like this before. This is really interesting. Some of them have wooden head and foot stones. Like this one here. Look at that. That's neat. That's so unique. It's a whole colony of these, and they just look awesome. These tall sort of marble monuments. They are some kind of marble. See if I can look this up. So I looked up the name Skomarak, Amir, meaning royal, is Islamic. So this is an Islamic burial grounds here, dedicated to Islam, and the memorials are so cool. Wow. I wish there was a plaque or something that kind of described it. That way, no one really have to look it up. They do all the work for me, but I can't get enough of this. This is so cool. So don't mind me, but Muslim. I don't know much about these things. I should know more, but with every cemetery I go to and I stumble across these things, I am learning as I go. But it says here, for a Muslim burial, the grave should be perpendicular to Mecca, with the deceased's body positioned so their right side faces the Islamic holy city. As the body is lowered into the grave, the congregation say a prayer. Wood or stones are laid down to prevent the body touching the dirt. So I was wondering why the mounds. I don't know if you were wondering the same thing. Because they all have mounds. Like, obviously the ones that have been here longer are no longer mounds. But it seems like the ones that are here more recently, this one's 2020, there's still a mound there. Over there are some really high mounds over in that corner. So I gotta get out of here. I can spend all night here. And this one section, I find it so interesting. I've seen a couple of fallen headstones here. This one is fallen face down, so you can't even really read it. I've seen some with just a base and no upper headstones. I don't know what could have happened there, but this one's just laying face down. And there's another one over there that I took a still shot of that's older as well. I think that when that happens, they just kind of try and keep it wherever it lands so as not to disturb it any further. These are pretty old. Laura Moultrie Phillip passed in 1929. Sally Redden and Lewis Redden. She died in 1935 and he died in 1941. Here's a Mariah. I've said before in my videos I thought that was a newer name, but that name goes way back. This Mariah Curtis passed in 1947. This is one of my favorite newer types of headstones because that white against the black marble is just so outstanding. You can read it and it seems to stand the test of time. You know, this is only 2019, but I've seen older ones. These folks here, I think, just have a plot, it looks like. There's no death date or anything, so they got their stuff all set up. But you see how bold that is? Very cool. You see so many older headstones that unfortunately you just can't read anymore. So to have something like that, that's just so bold and easily read, that's just a really cool new creation. Of course, these are always beautiful too. This is that red marble that I love so much. Peach, red, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not going to try to pronounce that last name because I'm not going to do it right. Passed away October 4th. Wow, that's the day Janis Joplin passed away. But this was in 2020. Beautiful. Another beautiful headstone. This is really cool and something you don't really see a whole lot. This is a cremation garden. So if you have your loved one's cremains and you don't have any place to put them at home, and maybe it's too expensive to get a niche, or you just kind of want them out with the rest of everybody, you know, you can do a cremation garden sort of thing where the cremains are buried. And this is really beautiful the way they have it set up because it's in a planter around a tree. It's a beautiful oak tree, very big, shaded. It's really nice. There's a cute little section over here next to the water, right on the water. It's another dreary, kind of rainy day today. We got sprinkled on a little bit so far. But it's nicer than being really hot outside. So, let's see. This looks like another cremation garden. Perhaps. Over here. It's pretty cool. Right on the water. There's the water. Of course, we're right off the main road too. Here's a Vietnam veteran. Savas Costas Drumis, Sergeant, U.S. Army, Vietnam. May 29th, 1945 to February 8th, 2020. Bronze Star Medal, Purple Heart, and loving memory. Thank you for your service. There are quite a few veterans over here buried, but they're just kind of scattered. They're not really in one section. They're all over the place. Let's see what we got over here. This is U.S. Army. Let's see. Korea. William McKinley. Robertson Jr. Corporal in the U.S. Army, Korea, October 30th, 1928 to January 16th, 2018. Some more recent departure. This is a good sized cemetery, not huge, easy to walk around, but a lot of newer memorials. Now, there are older ones, but they're kind of mixed in. But that Muslim cemetery was just too cool. I'd come just for that again, you know. As far as, you know, really old stuff, I don't see a lot of that. And you know, that's my favorite stuff. So, but it's a beautiful cemetery anyway. And if you are into cemeteries, I'd come out just to see the Muslim part of the cemetery. It was so interesting. And it's a beautiful walk. Nice big trees, a lot of shade here, and just really nice grounds. But anyway, my chariot is coming to scoop me up. That does it for this one. I'll see you at the next one. thank you so much for joining me again today. I hope you loved the cemetery. I really loved that Muslim section. In fact, I loved it so much that I had to know more about the Muslim faith and their burial practices. So I looked it up, and the reason for the mounds is because basically Muslims believe ashes to ashes, dust to dust, basically. So if you recall, when we were at the Hartford Preserve, where they had natural burials in a shroud or in a biodegradable box, it's similar to that style of burial. However, there's no box, coffin, casket. They do not believe in that. They do not believe in embalming or anything like that. So the body is just wrapped in a white shroud and placed in a grave, which is lined either with stone or wood to keep the body from actually touching the ground beneath them. And they're buried on their side facing Mecca, or I could be butchering this. I'm not Muslim. I just think it's a really cool practice. And then they're basically covered with dirt because the Muslims believe that once you've passed on, everybody's created equal in the other, realm or heaven, whatever they believe. Everyone's created equal regardless of their status here on earth. So whether they were wealthy or had a lot of possessions, that doesn't matter when you're laid to rest and when you're gone and you leave this earth. So that's the reason for that. They're wrapped in this shroud, they're put underground, covered up with dirt, and I think the dirt mound is actually so high because it's basically the only barrier between the smell of a rotting body and, outside. So they put all this dirt on top to just kind of cover up the smell of the decaying body underneath. That's what I think. And they do the same thing over at Heartwood Preserve. It's just a really cool kind of burial. I wouldn't be buried that way, but I find that different burial practices for different faiths and beliefs is always something really fun to learn about. If you haven't already, please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video, and I'll see you next time.